What do you find is the key factor in actually closing the deal between a partnership with a nonprofit and a business? Like, what do you think is the key, the most vital thing that they both, I would say maybe both of them should have in order to actually, okay, now they're working together. They're actually one team.
One of the key things is mission alignment. We have to start there. Sometimes people want to do something good and they have an idea. So they're like, oh, I'm going to go to this nonprofit and I'm going to tell them what we want to do, opposed to saying, hey, we love what you're doing here. We want to support you. Or this is an issue that we as an organization have identified as something that is important to us. And we want to solve for this problem when we know that you're already boots on the ground. So let's would you be open to coming together so that we can solve this problem and move forward? So I think that's one of the main things that they can honestly do is just come in and be open to hearing from those folks who already have boots on the ground so that they can come in and come together and find that alignment.
Yeah. I think that's so important to what you mentioned about how people need to have the same mission. Like I was going over one of my, I believe it was my last episode where, your mission statement is such a vital thing when you have people who work together with the same mission and purpose of driving something. Like, I don't know, I'm going to give an example like, oh, we want to clear the planet of plastic. I don't know, whatever yes. that is, and right. they both have the same mission and goals. And that's how actually people can get things done is by having that same mission and they're all connecting together with that same mission. So I think that's super important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes the goal may seem lofty or may seem kind of out of reach, and it's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It starts, and we have to start somewhere, and right. if that's your goal of ridding the planet of plastics, okay, how can we come together? That's right. where the private sector comes in with their innovation and their ability to, and you know what? There's so much innovation within the other sectors as well, but it's not necessarily as promoted. So I think when you're able to find that space for innovation and people can come together, amazing solutions can come of it.
Yeah. What do you find is the most common nonprofit in obviously, I don't know if you've been everywhere, but what do you find is the most common nonprofit organization in each state, let's say, or even in the same states? What do you find is most common nonprofit you've run into or you've worked with even?
You know what? It's so funny because as soon as you said it, I thought about a study that comes out annually in terms of their philanthropic revenue. And I see a pie chart in my mind and I don't want to misquote it. So I'm not quite sure if human services would be the largest piece of the pie in terms of types of organizations, but I would venture to guess human services is pretty up there.
Yeah. That would make sense because I would kind of see how that would help not only the nonprofit organization, but also the company or business that they're trying to connect with. So I find that I think that's very useful. And I think that's very important to have because, it's like you look around you and we have so many things going on around the world and we need kind of that open arm support with each other. And I think with businesses, like you mentioned before, they have one goal and a nonprofit has another goal and you're trying to get them to align with each other. So that way they actually have the same goal. So that's kind of funny. You're like a goal aligner, if that makes sense.
Try to be, and what, there could be other points of alignment later down the road. It does. Yeah. Maybe when you talk initially, you find out that maybe we're not the organization you need to speak with, but there is organization ABC up the road that does this work that aligns here. And maybe we can come in a little later in the project when you guys are addressing this particular piece of the project. So there's so much alignment that can happen in multiple points over time. So yeah,
that's
being
great.
open to that is really important.